Okay, so let's get started. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Google News Initiative Startups Lab Indonesian live Q&A session. Before we begin, I would like to let you know that the live translation is available in Zoom. So please, if you see at the bottom of the screen, you're gonna have an interpretation button, which is a globe, and click and you select the Indonesian to hear the live interpretation in Bahasa. My name is Erico Lisboa, and I'm the business design lead here at Echoes. And it's an absolute pleasure to be here with you today. I wish everyone tuning in for good health and safety. I'm delighted to welcome you to our event, which is part of the Google News Initiative and an effort to work with the news industry around the globe to help journalists thrive in a digital age. So thank you for joining us. And to open the session, I think that we can have a word from our Google representative. So over to you, Jos.
Right, thanks, Erico. I'm very excited to be here as part of the Google News Initiative. It's a program that started in 2018 to help build a stronger future for journalism, and since then has partnered with over 6,000 news partners across the globe, from which more than 1,000 are located here in the Asia-Pacific region. Back to you, Erico.
Wow. And we also have here with me Philip Chen as the News Industry Relations and Programs Lead for APAC Partnerships at Google. Philip defines his work as supercharging the digital future of the news ecosystem in APAC via the diverse range of digital transformation partnerships, strategic initiatives, and innovation projects. It's great to have you here, Philip.
Thank you very much, Erico. Thanks for having me here.
It's my pleasure. So Google's and Echo's Desirable Futures Lab bring their passion and knowledge in how to foster innovation in the news industry. So please prepare yourselves for a very exciting Q&A session. And before we have, I hand it over to yours again from Google. I would, if you have any questions about the program during the presentation, please ask them in the chat box on the right side of the screen, okay? So we can bring them those questions at the end. A quick disclaimer here. So keep in mind that we are committed to safe, inclusive, and respectful community, and expect everyone here to behave in ways that promote supportive, inclusive, and effective environments. So we ask you to ensure that any piece of content you share is respectful, inclusive, and polite. So over to you now, Jos.
All right, so I think we can head to the brief intro on the program itself. Again, it's great to be speaking with all of you today. The Google Initiative Startups Lab Indonesia is Google's effort to build a stronger future for journalism by helping small and mid-sized organizations grow their digital businesses. Why are we doing that? Because here at Google, we believe that access to trustworthy information is vital for all components of a thriving democracy. Now, through the years, we have kept up consistent efforts to help with continued access to quality journalism, contributing to the sustainability of news organizations, supporting emerging news business models, and enabling newsrooms to engage their readers in new ways through the COVID-19 pandemic and beyond. Today, we're building on this commitment with a new GNI Startups Lab program for aspiring news entrepreneurs from all across Indonesia. The GNI Startups Lab, first of all, is a 16-week, about 4-month-long program that seeks to help journalistic startups better understand their audience, create higher quality content, and navigate the pitfalls of monetization. At the end of the program, you will have improved your capabilities to sustainably provide your audience with high-quality journalism. What will the program be? Now, Erica, would you like to give us a sneak peek on what's to come?
Sure, yours. So we created in partnership with Google News Initiative, the Google News Startups Lab Indonesian program will support a high-quality reporting from local and unserved communities across 16 weeks. It is tailored to the needs of the startups newsrooms in Indonesia. And participants will benefit from Echo's experience in supporting media startups and communities with workshops and coaching. The program consists in 3 phases. You see here, we're going to have the red color, the blue, and the green. So those 3 phases are divided like that. The first one is in the product development phase. You will learn how to develop your customer base further, how to refine your content strategy, and how to utilize a variety of innovation methods. The second is to growth marketing phase. We'll support you in matters such as visibility, business acumen, and leadership. The final and the third one is the finance and investment phase. We will help you to grow your startup to the next level by working with topics ranging from team building to sustainability and financial viability. All phases will be fully remote in a digital experience online and mostly held via live sessions with mentors and experts, giving you and your team the opportunity to boost your products and business through design thinking. The program will conclude on a celebratory demo day, which the date is to be defined. So, Jos, over to you.
Right. So who are we looking for in this program? First of all, we have to ask you this question. If you want to own the necessary skills to grow a digital news business, you are committed to public service reporting, and want to explore a major strategic opportunity in digital media, you and your team are just who we are looking for, man. Like, we are especially interested in entrepreneurs. So it can be you, it can be the organization that you work for, who want to serve communities that don't often see themselves or their stories reflected in their local news. This program aims to bridge the gap between entrepreneurs and reporters so that the former, the entrepreneurs, can appreciate the content, while the latter, the reporters, can understand the importance of financial sustainability. The applications are open, has been open for a while now, and it will remain open until September 19 at exactly 11:59 p.m. Jakarta time. So there's still a fair bit of opportunity to apply and register. It's a bit of a filling to do in the application, but it's super worth it. So 10 independent digital news publishers will be selected to participate in this first ever cohort in Indonesia. To learn more and apply, use the links in the video description below. www.gnistartupslab.id should get you there. And with that, we will go ahead and take some time for questions. Before I go back to Erico, we've actually received some questions over the weekend before this live session. But we can start with you who are in the call first. If you have any questions, please write them down in the chat box, and we will address them based on the questions, which ones. Okay, Erica, we ready for a Q&A?
Yes. The
Right,
Q&A. So thank you, Jos. We go ahead, we take some questions now. So just as a reminder, please make sure you put your questions in the chat.
Because we cannot read minds, right, Erica?
That's exactly right. Not yet. So guys, any questions that you might have?
Right. So as we wait for the ones in the call to post their questions, we do have some of the questions as I mentioned was there over the weekend. We
Yeah,
shared. So this has to be the one of the most important questions, I guess. So in the application form, it says there will be support in the form of grant. How big is the grant, and will everyone receive the same amount? Erica, do you have an answer for that?
the funding will be 15K startup paid in 2 installments attached to the deliverables.
So just to confirm, 15,000 US dollars per startup. Is that correct?
Okay, yes.
All right. So we do have some questions that are a bit more looking far ahead. So some of the questions were around this is a project-based program, and so what are the examples of eligible projects? What do the participants get to do for GNI Startups Lab Indonesia?
To be eligible?
What are the eligible projects? Let's say if they want to build or equip a newsroom with audio capable stuff like that. What would you think is a eligible project? I know Philip is here as well. If he wants to share from experience, you can jump in.
Good.
Happy to share. Thanks, Jos. So basically, the aim of the Startups Lab, which is the 16-week program that we have put together, targeting 10 participants based on applications, is really to focus on the business side of things. So really, viability, financial and operational sustainability. And as Erico mentioned, through 3 different modules, so product phase, the marketing phase, and as well as the finance phase, including maybe some of the practice pitches that startups will be doing to potential investors. So we'll do everything that we can to set them up for success there. And another part is that, and then again, maybe a quick plug to the next session we are hosting, which I believe will be on the 6th of September, is we will invite former participants of the GNI Startups Lab India, which is the first GNI Startups Lab we ran in the APAC region, to come in and share their firsthand experience with anyone who is interested to apply to this Startups Lab for Indonesia.
Wow, that's really nice. That's really good, Philip. Yours, I think we have one over there on the chat box from
Right.
Taufik Roman.
Yeah, from Tafik Rahman. So he's asking, once a publisher, for example, himself, applied to this program, what will the next selection process look like? And the second part of his question is actually been answered by Philip. Tawfiq, if you need more clarification, you can follow up on the chat because Philip has addressed that. But Erica, if you can share like what the
Yeah.
next selection process.
Yeah, we have another question here that we pick it up later, previously. So can we include everyone in our publisher on sessions mentoring because everyone wants to learn?
Yeah, you can respond to that. Erica. Who gets to be in the program, rather?
So because the program is project-based, it's a good mix of theoretical and practical activities. Ideally, there are some specific roles that are critical for startups to success. A maximum of 8 participants is a good number, with 4 being the minimum and 7 being the ideal. More than 8, a little progress is made. Less than 4, it gets a little bit hard to have all the skills needed to successfully complete the activities. And of course, there are exceptions. Another question is that, can we share the session link to our consultants helping us? Unfortunately, no. Another question that we have is, can we use the information we receive as news material? We want to publish a special channel in our website. Yes, you can share the key learnings and the progress, but never the content itself because of the intellectual property. It's a very special program, and what we're going to be learning and we're going to be doing over there, it had a lot of intellectual property that we need to respect. So the other question that I have here, guys, is that can we involve our potential investor or clients or expose them to the lessons we learn in the 16 weeks program? As covered above, and I just said, you are welcome to share the learnings and the progress.
If I may quickly chime in here, Eriko and Jos, is that as mentioned earlier, the program will be having, we'll have a module in place. And as much as we like to tailor to everyone and each of the startups, we will therefore have a balance between one-to-many exercises and sessions, as well as one-to-one live, so digital experience between the mentors, which will be in Bahasa Indonesia, and each of the startups and their teams. So just want to call that out, that it's a good mix of content that the participants can expect from this program. Thank you.
That's amazing. Thank you, guys. Do you have any other questions?
Yeah, let's get back to that question from Taufik. What will the next steps in the selection will look like?
What the next steps on the selections would like. Sorry, Jos, I just lost it here at the questions that we got it.
Okay, so the question is coming from the chat box. So I think I can jump into this.
Yes, please.
Please add if you have more information. So Taufik, the selection, if you have applied, of course, prior to the closing date, we will be looking at the applicants. There will be a short list, and those who have been shortlisted will be contacted for an interview. So the interview process is also as important as the details that you have put in the application form, because from that interview process, we will then be able to gauge the commitment, because we are looking at a lot of knowledge to be shared, a big opportunity to be received by the 10 participants. And so in the interview process, we will be able to figure out if the organization that you are applying for receive, for example, a support from the management, commitment that everyone can follow through to the 16-week program. It's not going to be like every day, but there is a huge time commitment that needs to be spent by each of the organizations selected into the top 10. So that's why the interview process is also crucial to the acceptance. I hope that answers your question, Taufik. Feel free to put some follow-up.
Well, that's a really good one. And Jos, we have another one here from on the chat box from Berlian.
Berlian, okay, thank you, Berlian. So this is absolutely a great question. Has there been any local Indonesian startups that has participated in this GNI program? So a quick question to that is no, Berlian, because this is the first ever GNI Startups Lab in Indonesia.
And we are very excited about this inaugural program, so Startups Lab specifically for Indonesia. And just want to call out again, we definitely welcome a diversity of set of participants and cohort of the inaugural program. So definitely, whichever part of the country you're in or island, we definitely encourage your applications, and we look forward to reviewing those, and we'll be reaching out with next steps, as mentioned earlier by Jos and Eriko.
Oh, that's amazing, 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 amazing. So it's just, guys, any other questions that you are now, will be a pleasure to answer any questions that you might have. Belian, you have another question. Taufik, Roddy.
Okay, so we do have some more questions here coming previously So I think I can jump to this. So Google News Initiative Startups Lab has some criteria that indicates the age of the company itself, about less than 5 years old, and making $150,000 annually. So that's really around the ballpark. While we do have those criteria to filter out organizations, news publishers that we believe are suitable for this program, we are not that rigid when it comes to determining that criteria. If you are making, for example, more than $150,000 annually, but you still need help in shaping your business direction, in building your strategy, we also encourage you to apply. And those challenges will be met, will be discussed during the interview process. So it's a sense for us to be able to get the right participants for this. But if you happen to be in existence, for example, longer than 5 years, or even making annual revenue of more than $150,000 gross revenue per year, you are still encouraged to apply. And we can discuss about those slightly off criteria parts during the interview process prior to the selection. So I hope that helps.
That's really, 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 really good. Thank you, Jos. Appreciate it. I do have like another one here, which is if the startup labs is based in other country in Asia, but my main audience is from Indonesia, I'm still eligible.
So appreciate the enthusiasm, but this program, as the namesake, GNI Startups Lab Indonesia, is reserved only for Indonesian-based publishers. The Indonesian-based publishers, the startup publishers, can have audience outside of Indonesia, but it must be a registered entity here within the Indonesian territory.
That's good. That's great, Jos. That's great. I think like we covered all our questions so far. If there anyone from that, just Philip.
To add on the previous questions and directed at those
Any potential?
those startups that are not based in Indonesia or registered in Indonesia, but do target the audience in Indonesia. We do have, and stay tuned on the socials of GNI, we do have startups programs in other parts of the region and other countries. So do stay tuned for those, as you will be eligible to apply.
Oh, that's great. That's really great. Thank you, Philip. Appreciate it. So, Jos, is there anything else you would like to cover up before we wrap it up?
Okay, while we wait for a couple of minutes, if anyone in the call has any other questions, I would potentially cover. Oh, there's this.
Roddy.
Yeah, there's this Rudy.
You got one from Roddy.
Right. So, are the teams involved in this process or those who just applied? So I can give a quick answer to this, and probably someone else can add. So when you apply on behalf of your organization, Roddy, you will need to list down the name of people who you think will be suitable to follow this program. So you're definitely registering your friends, your colleagues in your organizations. And then, as Eriko mentioned earlier, the ideal kind of numbers between 6 to 7 per publishers, but a minimum of 4 will do. We do realize that some of the news publishers registering may not have that many people in their teams, but it should be a good mix of editorial, marketing insights, as well as audience, so that everyone can potentially be on the same boat. Because I think, Eriko, that's the one of the toughest challenges is to get everyone aligned on what to do as well. I hope that answers.
Yes, that's exactly right. Thank you, Jos. Do you have any other questions, guys? Now's the time. Ask anything you wanted.
Like if anyone has any questions about the program, where can they send it to?
I think we
Wow,
have.
very,
I
very
believe
faint.
if any of the potential applicants, the startups in Indonesia, have questions, Eriko, which email address can they direct these to?
Okay. So yeah, so great. Thank you, everyone. So we really appreciate you to being here today. And before we wrap up the session, please don't forget to check the links with more information about the program and how to apply in the video description below on the chat box. We also will be hosting the second Q&A session with the Iki, yes? She was just with the microphone on. So also, it will be hosting the second live session. We will be hosting the second live session with the participants from Google for GNI Startup Labs Indonesia. And on the 19th of September, 6th of September, 2022, 3 p.m. So on WAB. The Echoes will be sharing the links to the program on the sites and the application on the chat box below, which is already over there. So remember that the applications for the 16th program close on the 19th of September 2022 at pretty close to midnight. So 11:59 WIB. If you met the criteria, please make sure you apply as soon as possible. And
those are the dates. Those are the key dates there.
Those are the dates. That's exactly why, 6 September. And the other one, the applications will be open to the 19th of September 2022. And I think that's it pretty much for today, guys.
Thank you for those dialing in. And if anyone has any questions about the program, again, there, Paulo shared, you can reach out to gni@ecos.cc as well. Thank you so much for your time, guys. Appreciate it. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys, and see you soon.